You won't last 2 seconds if he invades your mind.
I'm not weak!
I will prove it.
What really drives this one forward is the sense of mounting tension between Harry and Voldemort.
Look at me!
Fifth time round, they're back, and it feels very new and just great fun. I'm okay.
All of them been through so much over the years, and they're looking out for each other.
There are characters who outwardly are very charming, with a lot of other stuff going underneath.
We've all got a bit of the light and the dark inside us, just what we do with it.
What are you doing?
I'm not doing anything! In this film, particularly Harry, he sort of instantly starts off in trouble. Suddenly these Dementors swoop in and attack both Harry and Dudley.
Expecto Patronum!
And then he has to go on trial for using underage magic.
Charges against the accused are as follows: that he did knowingly and in full awareness of the illegality of his actions produce a Patronus charm in the presence of a muggle.
I was only doing it because of the Dementors.
I don't think anyone would believe that the Dementors were there by coincidence, Minister. There is someone who might be behind the attack.
In Ministry's opinion, he is in there to be found guilty and nothing else.
Evidence that the Dark Lord has returned is incontrovertible.
We think Voldemort wants to build up his army again. He's been recruiting heavily, and we've been attempting to do the same.
The Order of the Phoenix is an organisation dedicated to fighting Voldemort and fighting the Death Eaters, and Dumbledore founded it.
Part of the Order was Harry's parents, Sirius Black, obviously, Lupin, Mad-Eye Moody, and a few others, bit of a crew.
A really sort of secret, underground sort of operation, and everyone's there together as a team.
We believe Voldemort may be after something.
Sirius.
Something he didn't have last time.
Voldemort is getting stronger and stronger and threatens everything that we hold dear. And we are rallying forces.
It's your turn now.
Hogwarts is not somewhere that's safe. The Ministry has decided that they're going to take over part of Hogwarts, they're going to interfere, they're going to put up new rules.
We also wish to welcome our new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, Professor Dolores Umbridge.
Which actually turns out to be a bit of a nasty piece of work.
Who do you imagine wants to attack children like yourself?
Oh, I don't know, maybe Lord Voldemort.
Detention, Mr. Potter!
Professor Umbridge works for the Ministry, and basically she wants to gain power and control.
I will have order! I don't know if teaching's her first love, but this is part of her job, and also she's training these young minds to be against Dumbledore. She doesn't want them to be doing any spells that she thinks are dangerous.
There's nothing in here about using defensive spells.
Using spells? I can't imagine why you would need to use spells in my classroom.
For Hermione, that just makes her blood boil. Voldemort is said to have returned, and they're sitting in the classroom writing lines when they want to be learning how to defend themselves. That's one of the reasons why, for the first time in her life, she really feels like she needs to rebel. It's sort of exciting, isn't it? Breaking the rules.
Who are you and what have you done with Hermione Granger?
With Voldemort on the loose, they have to protect themselves. And so they form this secret society. Effectively becomes known as Dumbledore's Army.
It's kind of like a group where everyone learns from Harry, learns magic. You all know why we're here. We need a teacher. A proper teacher.
And at first, you know, he's a really reluctant teacher. He gets talked into it by Hermione. But as usual, Hermione is irritating and is right.
If we're going to have any chance of beating Voldemort, we need your help. I think Hermione and Ron's job, particularly in this one, is to bring him out of that stage where he feels so alone. And this is a way that he will feel that he is accepted, that people look up to him. It's all part of the plan. She's a genius.
Working hard is important, but there's something that matters even more. Believing in yourself.
It's a really fantastic part of the film as we see Harry become a teacher and we see these kids use magic in a way that we've never seen them use it before.
He actually turns out to be a very, very good teacher. Neville is one of the characters that changes so much.
I'm hopeless. No, you're not. You're just flourishing your wand too much.
But then you see towards the end of the lessons, he starts to really come through and he can really shine.
Expelliarmus! Fantastic. Well done.
In the film, Hermione, she really believes in herself, and it's quite well represented in a scene in the room of requirements.
Ron goes in all cocky thinking he can sort of beat a girl.
They're practicing some spells and Ron comes up and says,
Don't worry, I'll go easy on you.
"Thank you, Ronald." It's patronising, it's sexist, it's just everything that she is completely against, and just absolutely just takes him out. It's a good girl power moment. She's just cool like that. She doesn't hold back. You're a really good teacher, Harry.
One of the most interesting aspects is the relationship between Harry and Cho.
There's this sort of magnetism between them, and whenever they see each other, they're kind of just drawing closer to each other.
Mistletoe.
Harry's big kiss, his first kiss, and lucky Harry too, with a girl as lovely as Cho.
Because I knew Katie was so nervous, I was quite nervous as well. There was lots of courtesy chewing gum going in my mouth that day.
Do you believe the rubbish he's come out with about you-know-who?
Has anyone else got a problem with Harry?
Initially, Harry is very much ostracized when he arrives at school because a lot of people do not believe his story of the return of Voldemort.
One of the things that I think is fascinating is the relationship between Harry and Dumbledore. Because, of course, Dumbledore thinks Voldemort might be using Harry. And so Dumbledore is ignoring Harry at the time when Harry actually needs him most.
Professor! Professor Dumbledore!
Harry's view of Dumbledore is that he's Harry's rock, and Harry sees for the first time this man shifting slightly, which terrifies him.
Harry, you is strong.
Voldemort is getting inside Harry's head. He's corrupting his soul.
You what?
I said I'm fine, Ron.
Harry suddenly feels a bit of an outsider, and he has to make a choice whether to embrace that wonderful relationship he's got with Ron and Hermione, or he can just go it alone.
I just feel so angry all the time.
The world isn't split into good people and Death Eaters. We've all got both light and dark inside us.
And there are some interesting moments in our film when you can see he could go either way.
In these lessons, I will attempt to penetrate your mind. You will attempt to resist.
Harry trains with Snape to try and block out any chance Voldemort has of getting inside his head.
Control your emotions.
There's the real sense of a growing danger that you can't quite define. But we don't know when it's going to happen, or how it's going to happen.
Prepare yourself.
I think the audience is invested in this world and these characters and these actors. We've kept the same cast throughout, and each film brings a new cast member or a few new people as the world expands.
Things at Hogwarts are far worse than I feared.
We're getting close to every talented British actor and actress. We just have the most incredible cast, and now Imelda Staunton. She's very talented. And more than that, she keeps everyone laughing in between takes. She's a very, very funny woman.
It's a great role, and I don't think for a moment she thinks she's doing anything wrong. Not for a moment.
She's got this massive pink dress and this strange pink hat.
We have been trying for every costume to have a different print and a different pink print and a different color of pink. Every time she comes with a different shade of it.
I haven't worn much pink before, but the alarming thing is, because I'm rather thinking, this is lovely, this outfit, I'm rather getting to like them now.
I'm sure we're all going to be very good friends.
That's likely. I predict Umbridge is going to stay in people's memories quite a bit, because she's quite scary and interesting and funny all at the same time. And I think there are going to be a lot of kids out there who are going to probably have a few nightmares about Dolores Umbridge. I certainly do, and I've been working with her.
This is the Black Family Tree. My deranged cousin. I hated the lot of them.
Bellatrix, my cousin who's gone wobbly.
I'm the follower of Voldemort.
Harry Potter.
Helen Bonner, she's really cool. It looks quite scary.
To be or not die.
I also had great fun creating the look of her. I'd done witches before, and I'd done the hag look. I thought I could be sexier.
She's a real psycho.
I think she's got, obviously, a personality disorder.
Everyone says Luna Lovegood.
Luna Lovegood is a bizarre character, but who Harry really feels a closeness to, because he feels that they're very similar people.
They're both outsiders, and so they kind of bond over that. And she helps him, she's wise, so she teaches him stuff. You're not going mad, you're just as sane as I am. I always wanted to be Luna. I've been a fan for ages, so I always wanted to be in the films.
It's her first acting part. What a way to find her too. We decided to go for the open call. The expectation of having, I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000 people, a lot of people would sort of turn up, and on the day there were in fact 15,000. And out of those, Zavalna, and she's just fantastic. She is Luna Lovegood.
We've got Tonks as well.
Don't worry, Harry. We'll explain everything when we get back to headquarters.
Shh! Not here, Nymphadora.
Don't call me Nymphadora. She's the youngest person in the Order of the Phoenix. And because she's very good at spells, she happens to be in this group.
She's got this ability to kind of transform herself. She changes her hair colour, she changes her face. She's got all this magical quality.
But the kids love me, you know, because the situation is serious enough. And my character's like, I'll give you a wink and a smile and change into a duck for you and, you know, make the evening a bit better. All this death and Voldemort, you know, let's chill out a bit.
Action! Working with David Yates, he's just a great director who sort of never settles for less, and he'll always push for more and greater detail, which is brilliant.
Todd's going to be the Death Eater dummy. The Death Eater dummy is about 7 feet tall. What was exciting for me coming to Hogwarts at this stage was the fact that Rupert and Emma and Dan and the rest of the cast were actually getting a little bit older, a little bit more complicated. Mr. Rupert, we'll do one more. Running. One like that. This is it. We've got it, guys. That was great.
David's wicked, yeah. We're getting on really well with him. He's relaxed and he just gives really good advice as well.
That was lovely, Rupert. That was lovely. What you really care about is you care about those characters, you know. You care about those relationships. And this film really dips into those in a big way, I think. This story offers an opportunity for all of the cast to really push themselves as actors.
You've done this big thing. You felt 8 foot tall because you've absolutely, and now you feel about that big.
He likes the really special relationship that Dan, Rupert and I have as a friendship, which can be brought into Harry, Ron and Hermione's, and he really likes to use that to the best he can.
When you're walking away from Williams, you want to kind of stay as far to the right of this space as possible. The Order of the Phoenix dips into all the playfulness and all the madness and all the magic that have already been set in motion in the previous films. So it's a kind of marriage of all that with issues and ideas which are a little bit more complicated and complex. I think you can have a really wonderfully fun time in this world at the same time as touching on things which are quite grown up.
What are they?
They're called Thestrals.
We have sort of new creatures in this. We've got the Thestrals, who only certain people have the ability to be able to see.
They are like the horses of death. They look so impressive and haunting. Hagrid's brother Grawp, the massive giant.
Grawp is part CG and part actor.
We did motion capture where we basically ran through all of Grawp's performance long before we ever got to shooting any of the scene with the other actors.
What Tony's provided for us is the human element, the emotional qualities of the character, if you like. So when you look into the eyes of this 16-foot giant, you'd be looking into the eyes of Tony Maudsley.
They've made this scale-sized model for me to grab, which is representing Emma.
Grawp! He's just a big kid, basically, and there's something incredibly endearing about him. It's really sweet.
nasty branch standing there as bold as brass. Harry Potter, the boy who stopped the Dark Lord, friend of mudbloods and blood traitors alike.
Kreacher is a new house elf for this film, so he's same race as Dobby from the second film. Only Kreacher is the complete opposite. He's revolting, and his loyalties are very much on the dark side.
My poor mistress.
Kreacher! It's enough of your bile! Away with you!
Of course, Master. Kreacher lives to serve the noble house of Black.
Then there are the centaurs.
I've never seen a centaur so roiled. And they're dangerous at the best of times.
They're not exactly new characters, but you did see a centaur in the first film. But it's a different technology, actually allows us to present the centaurs in a very different way.
What's great about this film is that we're taking the audience into new magical bits of the world that we haven't seen before.
So what is this place? It's headquarters. Grimmauld Place is the headquarters of the Order of the Phoenix, and Sirius's old house.
It's a typical, elegant 18th century Georgian square in London, terraced houses. What is very untypical, of course, is the way it magically appears. We try to reflect that on the inside, that it is this strangely distorted space.
We have two scenes in the kitchen. One is a big meeting, serious meeting, and then the second scene is a Christmas scene, which is much cozier, and we have lots of Christmas presents.
Come on, open up. I want to see your faces.
Yeah.
The china, I felt that was one way of giving the feeling of an old ancestral home, and then added touches of wizardry like saucepans and things hanging from the ceiling with cauldrons and things like that as well.
The London Underground was our inspiration for the Ministry of Magic. All these reflective tiles, all these odd little shapes, round circular shapes. And so it's right from something that's very British, quintessentially British. One of the early things we did was visited the oldest of the London Underground, London tube stations, many of which had extravagant use of decorative ceramic tile that was sort of put into the mix, and we've invented this underground world, which is a Victorian ministry, highly decorative, going on forever, huge physical set, but then extended with a computer-generated set extensions in all directions. The choice for her is this strident sort of pastel pink. The stone walls are painted pink. The furniture, it's this curvy kind of French-style furniture.
We hadn't had French furniture before, and since it was spiky and rather aggressive, it would suit her character. And of course the cat plates all over the wall. And Imelda Staunton loved it, felt very much at home there, which was great for us.
This is just a gem. It's heaven. They do such an amazing job. Such an amazing job.
You've done it, Neville. You've found the Room of Requirement.
What?
The Room of Requirement only appears when a person has real need of it.
The Room of Requirement is where we learn our defense against the dark arts.
When they first find it, it is mirrored, and that seemed exciting photographically. From a shooting point of view, it's a total nightmare, because wherever you point the camera, you're going to see yourself. So we had weeks and weeks of meetings about how practical it was to shoot in this environment, but we figured out a way of how we could achieve it.
Floor is it's like a special material, so you have to wear these sort of blue shoe covers. It's a really cool set, actually.
So we've got all the reflective properties in there, and with CG and visual effects, it just feels quite beautiful. We have the biggest battle in history at the end of this movie. A wizarding battle has never really been committed to film on the scale that we'll be doing it.
The voices. Can you tell what they're saying? Harry has been lured into the Ministry of Magic by Voldemort's sort of mind trickery, and he goes and has to fight various Death Eaters, and ultimately has a confrontation with Voldemort.
Get behind me!
It's going to be a pretty spectacular scene. I was actually a couple of days ago being taught some of the choreography for some of the spell work that they're doing. It's the first time we've ever actually had to do any proper fighting with wands before.
David Yates has been keen to make a distinction between how very advanced wizards do the spells and how very young wizards do the spells.
That feels much more like your version of it. Okay, cool. Rather than a grown-up version of it.
This distinction is made by choreography, the physical side of things.
Go, 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 go. Circle protection. Hold it. I don't do the spell.
I had to devise a set of movements from which the spells could be delivered. How it began was very much on what's feasible for the characters, and was taking into account the actors who were playing the roles as well.
There are certain ways of using the wand and certain movements and a certain physicality, and one spell may be above the head, another spell may be from down below.
One of the lovely things about me fighting Gary is that he's got a kind of street, prison, Azkaban-informed fighting style, and I'm very old school. One of the enjoyable aspects of it is watching the contrast of these styles. I keep feeling like we're doing Basil Rathbone and Errol Flynn stuff.
Come on, cousin!
It's not just waving around a wand. You've got to really have the intent to deliver the curse.
There's an art to selling a good fight. Making it look real, of course, and truly angry and aggressive, but also shaping it. You know, it has its own story, a good fight.
It's going to be like nothing anyone has ever seen. This film is about Harry Grier using the knowledge that he has gained over the last 5 years to try and fight the bad in the world.
Prepare yourself. You need a teacher. It's about friendship and loyalty and everyone coming together, and it's really, really cool.
Every great wizard has started out as we are now. If they can do it, why not us?
They're actually going to learn sort of how to defend themselves.
Harry, Ron and Hermione are really a unit, and when you watch the film, you feel that Harry's strong as long as he's got them either side of him.